Hi, good morning, everybody. How are you this morning? It's great to be here. It's great to be with you on this Tuesday morning. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we're going to be talking about head-to-head horse racing, how we're going to use it to simplify everything. But before we get started, I would love to hear from you. Drop a message into the chat. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that everything is working. You can hear me. You can see me. Let me make sure that the chat is working. It has been known for some of these live stream software to break sometimes. So I would love to make sure that actually you can hear me and you can see me and that everything is working fine before I move on. Now, I think it is. There is a bit of a time delay around questions coming in. So I'm just going to wait a moment. But if you have just arrived, please drop a message in saying hello. Let me know that you're here. And then I will continue moving towards head-to-head horse racing, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. Head-to-head horse racing, how we're going to use it to simplify everything, and where to go where to go to from there. Okay. Now, I haven't got no messages coming through. They're starting to come through now. There we go. Okay, chat working. Hi, Martin. Hi, Graham. Hey, Graham, you are dastardly. I didn't realize. Well, thank you very much, because I've been thoroughly enjoying our conversation over there. If you're not sure what Graham's talking about, I write a personal email / blog, email, newsletter, kind of around once a week. And it's really just me talking about things that are on my mind and what's going on. And yeah, I mean, it's personal, and that's about it. But if you're interested in that, it's called Decompression. It's over on decompression.substack.com. You can go over there, read it, join the newsletter. It's free. It's just me. As I say, it's just me kind of nattering on and writing about whatever comes into my head that week. What I've been feeling, what I've been thinking, what I've been doing, what's been good, what's been great, what's been not so great, whatever it is. Anyway, back to horse racing. Morning, John. Morning, Jerry. Thank you very much for joining us. If you are just coming in, please do say good morning. Good morning. We got folks over on YouTube. We got folks over on Facebook. If you're not sure where to say good morning, if you're on Facebook, that's in the comment section just below down here. If you're on YouTube, it's going to be over here in the chat section. It's just going to be running down the side of your screen over here. Make sure you hit the like button, please. Make sure you hit the like button, which is just below the video, whether you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook, it doesn't matter. It's going to be right down here, just below the video. So please do hit that like button. Now, we're going to be talking today about head-to-head horse racing, how we can use it to make a profit. When you join us, make sure you say hello. Morning, Mark. Thank you for joining. Morning, Humphrey. Thank you for joining. So head-to-head horse racing. What the heck am I talking about here? It's time to simplify everything. This came up because I came to it actually by chance in another live stream a few months ago, and I just kind of was talking over it, and there was so much interest in it. I thought, you know what, we need to do a live stream dedicated just to this, nothing else, just purely to head-to-head horse racing. That's what we need to do. We need to do a live stream. So that's what we're doing today, a live stream dedicated about head-to-head horse racing, how we can simplify things, the pros, the cons, how we analyze the race. And I'm super looking forward to it. Morning, Paul. Morning, Chris. Morning, Martin. Thank you for saying. Morning, Assistant Surveyor. Everything working. Thank you so much for letting me know. It looks like we've got a couple of minutes time delay going on here between me talking and you seeing it or hearing me on the screen. So there is a couple of minutes time delay here. And I'm going to bear that in mind as we go through the next 45 minutes or so and work through these things. I'm gonna bear that in mind. Okay. So what is head-to-head horse racing and why do we actually want to use it? So we want to use it because we want to reduce the competition. I mean, it's that simple. We want to reduce the competition. Let's be honest. As bettors, as horse racing fans, we love to complicate things. We love to make things much harder than they actually need to be. Like, we complicate our betting. We make it difficult for ourselves to win. And we do that by doing things like, I'm only going to bet in handicap races. Well, handicap races are designed to level the playing field. They're designed to make it harder to assess who is going to be the winner of the race. That's what they're designed to do. Now, obviously, the handicappers don't always get it right. That's where we find our advantage. But a handicap race is designed to make it harder. Why do we only want to focus on races that are designed to be harder to assess? You know, why do we only focus on large races? I only want to bet on races with 12 runners plus or 10 runners plus. This is something I hear all the time. I want the big field because some will get left behind. But in the big field, you're right, some will get left behind. But it's going to be much harder to find the ones that are not going to get left behind because we've got so many more horses to consider. And we've got so many more possibilities that can take place. And we've got so much more chance of something unpredictable happening in the race. The more runners, the more unpredictable. Another common one is I only want to bet in Class 1 races because they have the best horses. Again, that is a true statement. No one can deny Class 1 races have the best horses. But if we've got a race filled with the best horses, it becomes much harder to determine which of those horses is likely to have the marginal advantage over the others. Looking in lower class races, we can often spot the significantly better horses like glaring like a mile out. So we tend to, as horse racing fans, as horse racing bettors, we tend to make things much harder for ourselves than we actually need to make it. So we keep, it's kind of like we keep telling ourselves that we want to win, and then we do everything in our power to try and lose. So two head-to-head horses, horse racing, there are only two horses. We reduce the competition. And we want to reduce the competition. We want to make it as easy for us as possible to find which horse is the strongest. I mean, we could just go ahead and only look at races with like less than 12 runners or less than 10 runners or less than 5 runners or 5 runners or less. The problem is if we look at races with 5 runners or less, there aren't going to be very many of them. So instead, we want to go and look at the market, and we want to go and look at the AVB market. A versus B is what this stands for, essentially. A versus B. This market is totally underused. Morning, Paul. Thank you so much for joining this morning. Thank you for saying hello. If you have just joined, please drop a message. Say hi. Love to hear from you. Put it in the comment section below if you're on Facebook. Put it in the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen over here if you're on YouTube. So we want to look at the AVB markets. This is what we want to become our main focus. And AVB means simply A versus B. 2 horses, 1 horse versus another horses. An AVB market simply puts 2 horses in the race together into a single market and asks us to bet on which one we think is going to win. There are no other runners considered. It is that simple. And these markets happen all day. They happen all day. They happen every day. They are widely available on Betfair. And by betting in them, we're simply comparing one horse to another horse. We're simplifying everything. We've only got to focus on 2 horses. This hugely, hugely simplifies our analysis. When we remove the other runners, this hugely simplifies our analysis. Morning, Philippe. Thank you very much for joining this morning. I mean, let's just see. Let me show you how much this simplifies our analysis. If we have a 12-runner race and we're considering 6 ratings, okay, then we've got 6 to the power of 12 or 12 to the power of 6 possibilities. That's 2,985,984 combinations of ratings to compare against each other, potentially. Potentially. In a 2-runner race with 6 ratings, we have 36. 36 versus nearly 3 million comparisons. That's why we do it. That's why we do it like this. Morning, Philippe. A second Philippe. The Philippe who actually owns the pub just down the road from me, believe it or not. We bumped into each other. Morning, Roy. Thank you for joining. But this puts it in perspective. Okay, this puts it in perspective. If we look at a 12-runner race with 6 ratings per horse, direct comparison, rating to rating for each pair in the race, there are nearly 3 million possible combinations. In 2 runners, there are 36. Now, you don't need to be a mathematical genius to figure out that the 36th one is going to be a lot easier. So the benefits of doing it like this are absolutely huge. First of all, the AVB markets are massively ignored. That means that we have a lot of opportunity. We have a lot of opportunity to find an advantage, okay? Because generally speaking, people do not bet in these markets. The second benefit is it just simplifies our analysis because we only need to compare two horses. And I've probably hammered that one a little bit to death, so I'm going to move on from that. The third massive benefit is it allows us to learn quicker how to actually assess horses because we're simplifying, because we're reducing the fields, because we're making everything easier, we learn faster. We can see our mistakes faster. We can practice quicker. It is easier to practice like that. That is why we do that, okay? For that exact reason. And the fourth is that we generally will get more wins and we'll get those faster because there are only two horses in the race. So I was about to say we would have a 50-50 chance even if we just gambled, and we would, but we wouldn't because obviously some horses have a bit of a higher chance than others. But what we do get, because we're only betting on two horses, because there are only two horses effectively in this race, we do win more often, and that happens faster. And because we're winning, we feel confident in our assessment. And because we feel confident in our assessment, we start to feel confident in our ability. And when we begin to feel confident in our ability to assess a horse race, that's when we start to move. That's when things start to happen. That's when stuff starts to change, because the confidence that we need makes all the difference. Okay. The confidence we need makes all the difference. But there are also some downsides, so let's not ignore those. Okay, let's not ignore. There is never just one side to these things. There are always some downsides. So the downsides of the AVB markets are, first of all, and this is a pretty big one for some people, is that the markets are formed late in the day. So these markets, they are formed late towards the start of racing. You don't always see them in the morning. We're going to have a look to see if we can find some shortly, but they are generally formed later in the day, closer to race time. And there is very little liquidity in them until the racing is about to start. Until the race is about to go off, there's very, very little liquidity in them. And that's because they're just not betting that often. So these are kind of really the downsides of it. These are really the downsides of it. But the thing is the upsides just massively outweigh the downsides. The upsides massively outweigh the downsides. So that's why we want to be looking at them. Okay, now here's what we're going to do during the rest of this session. We're going to choose a race together. And actually, I'd like you to put that in the chat now, because I know there is this time delay going on. So I'd like you to put in the chat now if you have a specific race that you'd like to look at, but please try and make it as early in the day as possible. Otherwise, the market may not exist yet. To be honest, the market may not exist anyway yet. But please try and choose a race early in the day. One of the first races today would be ideal. Then we're going to decide what ratings we're going to use based on the race. So we're going to create a custom race card, okay? Then we're going to analyze the two horses in the AVB market which are competing with each other using a single tool, just one tool. We're going to do that analysis. Then I'm going to do the analysis again, but this time I'm going to use a bunch of tools. So you can see the difference between using one tool only, and you can get it working like that, and using a whole bunch of tools together and getting it working like that. And then I'm going to answer any questions that you may have anyway. Then I'm going to answer any questions that you may have anyway. But please make sure you drop those questions in as we're going through, because I'll come back to them all. I'll go through them all. We'll answer every single one. So that's kind of what we're going to do. Morning, Roy. Thank you very much for joining this morning. Graham has said that you don't always get the combination of horses that you want. He's absolutely right. You don't always get the combination of horses that you want. But for what we're looking at today, we are not going after specific horses. We're not going after contenders. We are simply going into the market, and we're looking at those two horses. We're looking at those two horses, and we're analyzing the race based on those two horses. Okay, that's it. Because there are only two horses. We're not going the contender process here. We're jumping into the market. We're looking at those two horses only and coming out. Okay, Chris has suggested the 1 o'clock. So we can look at the 1 o'clock. Let's see how we get on. As I say, if you've got any questions, please drop them in. You drop them in by dropping them into the comment section below on Facebook, the chat section on the right here on YouTube. And if you haven't yet hit the like button, below this video, please do hit the like button. That'll be excellent. Thank you. Okay, now let's bring up today's race cards. Okay, here we go. There's gonna be a bit of screen magicry going on. There we go. Okay, we've got today's race cards. Now I'm going to be using, obviously I'm going to be using the Race Advisor Pro software suite. I'm going to be using those tools. If you're not yet a Race Advisor Pro member, you can become one by going to raceadvisor.co.uk/join. You can head over there and become part of our pro community over there. And we're going to jump into the 1 o'clock market. I've just seen that Philippe said there is no AVB yet on this market. So let's just have a quick look. And it may be that we're too early for any AVB markets to appear yet. And as I say, these markets do appear later in the day, but that's okay. We can still look at the 1 o'clock one. Just so you know where they are, let me share with you. Betfair. I'm just trying to find the Betfair screen here on all of my tabs. Bear with me 1 second while I pull up the Betfair screen. It's not sharing here yet. Okay. I think. Let me see. Here we go. Let's get some technology working here. Right. You should be able to see the Betfair screen in front of you now. Let me know if you can see that. Drop me a message saying, yes, I can see it, whatever. Let me know if you can see that screen in there now. And this is a great question from Beth Sheba. I'm actually not sure if Bet365 offer AVB markets. We'll have to have a look at that later, Beth Sheba. I'm not sure, but I have a feeling they may do. The best thing to do, if you're not sure if your bookmaker offers AVB markets, is contact their support and just say, I'm looking for AVB markets in horse racing. Let them know if they do. Okay, awesome. Everyone can see the Betfair screen. Wonderful. So where this works is down here. You'll see here we've got win each way. I've got the 1 o'clock Wolverhampton Open. We've got the win each way, the place, 2 place, 4 place. At the bottom, we will get AVB. These also appear at the top of the race card. You can see win each way, place, 2 places and 4 places. There will also be an AVB here. Now, not every market gets one. Not every market gets one, but a huge amount do. Okay, but they only appear later towards the race time. So because we don't know which horses in this race are going to be in the AVB market, we're just going to choose a couple of horses so I can show you and walk through. So are there any 2 horses that you would prefer? Normally these horses come from the front end of the market, so it could be kind of anyone from the favorite Daysack down to possibly Footsteps to the Heart. That's sort of usually the front half of the market is where they normally come from. So we'll do it there. Okay. Assistant Surveyor is saying that the 1 o'clock AVB is over at William Hill. It's on at William Hill. Could you let me know which horses they're showing at William Hill, please? Let's grab the actual horses that they've got over at Will Hill, and we'll see what they're doing. Okay. I'm just going to come back while we're doing that. I'm going to bring back in the race card, and I'm going to open the race. Okay. I'm going to open the race. So let's just clear that here. Clear that here. Okay. Right. So we've got the race here. Wolverhampton 1 o'clock. I'm just going to open that race. And let me jump over to Will Hill. See if I can find those for a second, because I appreciate there is a time delay happening. So you may not have received that message yet. But let's have a quick look. So if we go to William Hill quickly, where am I for the markets at William Hill? Now, I'm not familiar with William Hill because they won't let me bet. So place markets, match bets. Here we go. Oh, they've got a selection here. Do you know what? Let me just share my screen so you can see it. Let me just share my screen so you can see the William Hill market. Here we go. Okay, so here's how it looks at William Hill. Okay. Lots of screen magicry happening. Here's how it looks at William Hill. And they've actually, as you can see here, they've actually got a whole range of stuff, which is better than Betfair. So on Betfair, you're only going to get one. In the AVB market, you'll just get 2 horses. What we're seeing here over on William Hill is a whole range of versus match, and they don't call it AVB here. They've actually called it match bets. Okay, they've called it match bets here, not AVB. So, but it's the same thing. We've just got 2 horse races. All of them contain, oh no, not all. Most of them half contain the favorite, and then we've got a couple of others down here. Now, who knows? Will Hill may let me bet on these. I might try. I might try. So let's just start. Let's just start with the top one. Okay, we've got Daysack and Creek Harbor. Daysack and Creek Harbor. Okay, so that's basically the first favorite and the second favorite. So let's just start there, and we'll go from there. I'm just looking to see where the settings are on William Hill to change this into decimals. Just because I prefer to work in decimals. Here it is, odds format decimals. There we go. So can we see that? We've got Daysack sitting here at 1.73. We've got Creek Harbor sitting here at 1.91. This makes me laugh. Okay, this makes me laugh because Daysack here in a 2-horse race, Daysack here is given a 58% chance of winning. Okay, and Creek Harbor is given a 52% chance of winning. So that's 110% chance of winning. So, and this is obviously the downside of betting with a bookmaker over Betfair, is that they've got a 10% over round, and that 10% is their profit margin. So it can be harder to find the advantage on bookmakers versus Betfair because you got to overcome their 10% first. But let's see what we can do with this. Okay. All right. So. So we're going to go with those 2. Right, let's bring the race card back and let's crack on and have a look. So remember, we're going to analyze. Well, first of all, we've got to choose ratings that we're going to use. Then once we've chosen ratings, we're going to come back and we're going to and then we're going to come back. Sorry, I was just reading the comments that are coming through. Then we're going to come back and we're going to do an analysis with one tool, and then we're going to come back and do analysis with loads of tools, okay? Because we can do that, because we've got time, because actually there's only 2 horses in this race. All right, okay, let's have a look at this. This is awesome. Right, so first of all, let's have a look at the race. This is a handicap, flat all-weather handicap, class 6 furlong race, 5 grand prize money. So I'm going to put it out to you. What types of ratings do you think are going to be most suitable in a handicap race, 6 furlongs, standard ground, lower class? And you can be pretty generic here. You don't need to give me rating names. I'm just talking the type of rating. Maybe, do we want a trainer rating? Do we want a trainer performance over all weather? Do we want a trainer performance over particular going conditions? Possibly both. Do we want form, general form, maybe competitive form? Do we want speed? Because obviously it's a short distance race. You leave me a comment now, please. Let me know what you think we should put on a race card. While you're doing that, I'm going to come over and going to create a custom race card. Again, I am using the Race Advisor Pro software suite here. And if you're not yet a member, if you're not part of the community, you can become one at raceadvisor.co.uk/join. Now I'm going to just come down to settings because I want to create a custom race card for this race. You don't need to do this for every race, but we can. So I'm just going to add a new race card. Let me see if we've got any messages coming in here. Okay, we've got a bunch of speed ratings. Philippe, yes, AVB in the booking looks like robbery. It does a little bit. Okay, Mark, Bathsheba, Bet365, call it match bets 2. And there's nothing available yet. Okay, so Bathsheba, I'm sure that will appear. Okay, Graham is saying speed. Jerry is saying speed. Paul, distance, Greg, going. Okay, I'm going to start with speed. Keep putting your suggestions in for ratings. I'm going to start with speed. So let's just filter this by speed. And let's kind of scroll down. Let's choose some. I'm going to start with this speed figure adjusted, but I'm actually only going to look for difference from top. Okay, speed figure adjusted. I'm going to talk about difference from top in a minute, but I'm going to use that one. That's one speed. I think we'll put another speed in here as well, so we get a little bit more of an impression. So this is just purely from the last race. And I think I'm also going to go for, no, I don't want pace. I don't want pace. Let's have a quick look here. I think I'm going to go for speed over the distance. Speed over the distance. And I'm not going to go for race time, because generally speaking, horses that are racing on all weather, generally speaking, horses that have raced on all weather are racing on weather, have raced on all weather before. So I'm not going to go for all weather. But I think I am going to go for distance. I'm just debating over whether to go for average. I think I'm going to go for average. I'm going to go for average distance. Okay, we got our speed figures. Let's just put this in AVB race card. Okay, let's see what other suggestions we've got here. Grade, going, speed, Van der Waal. Okay, going, track, speed, trainer form. Now, Van der Waal's interesting suggestion, Raoul. That's on the race cards by default, so we can see whether that's worthwhile or not. Going, track, speed, class drop. Okay, Raoul, class drop. That's a great suggestion. Let's just come back here. Money class. Oh, no, I'm in speed. I don't want to be in speed. I want to be class movement. Right. Okay, class movement there. Actually, is that the one I want? Maybe I should go for... No, I'll stick with class movement. Okay. What else have we got here? Going. Okay, nothing on the going. Interesting, no one has yet put, and this is really interesting, no one's put form. Oh, we've got trainer form, but no one's put form yet. That's really interesting. I'm going to put some form in, okay? I'm going to put some form in. And let me do trainer form first. And I'm going to come to what's going to be good for trainer. I think trainer condition over the last 20 races is going to be what I'm going to go for trainer. Then I'm going to come to form. Well, what form am I going to use here? Now, I'm a big fan of, as everyone will know, I'm a big fan of Dayson's Last Good Race. So I'm going to put Dayson's Last Good Racing. Do you know, let's do something different. Let's go for number of days since the horse had a good race at the distance. Okay, I'm going to do difference from top on it. And what other form am I going to have? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I think as well, I'm going to go for... No, I don't need risk of fooling. Distance preference, win history. No, not for now. Do you know, I'm going to go for PF. I could go for earnings, but this is a low class race, so that's going to be less relevant. I'm going to go for PFP. I'm just going to go for PFP, but I want difference from top. So I want difference from top for PFP. And because no one else has said it, I'm also going to go for class. Actually, maybe someone has said class. Let's come back and have a look. No one has. Oh, yeah, grade. Yeah, we have got some classes in here. Okay. I'm not going to go for official rating, Raoul, because it's too used. Too many people use it, so there's no advantage in it. Similar grade. Neil suggested the draw. I'm not going to go for the draw. The reason I'm not going to go for the draw is because, generally speaking, the draw is already taken account of in the market, in the odds. In my experience, it's very hard to get an advantage from it, and I tend to put too much importance on. Pardon me. I tend to put too much importance on it if I include it. So I'm not going to go for the draw. Okay, let's have a look. So I was just having a look there. We have a new puppy in the house who's sitting right kind of down here behind me. And she just kind of fidgeted a bit. So I'm just going to do that there. Okay, so I've got those two there. And finally, I'm going to go for class. And I am going to go for, I'm going to go for a prize money class. Okay, I'm going to go for a prize money class, but I want difference from top again. Difference from top. Hey, no. Oh, that's the ranks. Hang on. No. Where is the one I want? This is it. Average competitive earnings class. Okay. And I'm going to click add rate. Actually, is this the order I want them in? I want class movement first. I want training at the end. Speed. Perfect. So nice amount of ratings. We can see that race card is here. Bang. 7 fields. Okay, 7 fields. Now, just coming back, Philippe, thank you for the PFP last 2 races. I do use that a lot. You're absolutely right, but I'm not going to use that today. And the reason I'm not going to use that will become clear shortly. Decent's last good race. I'm going to come back to that, Humphrey, as well. So a couple of questions there I'm going to come back to. Okay. Graham, I did say 6 ratings. You're absolutely right. I've gone for 7. Let's roll with it. Let's go with 7. Okay, let's reopen that race. Pardon me. Let's reopen that race and let's see what we've got today. Okay, remember, we're only looking at Daysack and Creek Harbor. Only looking at Daysack and Creek Harbor. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open our new race card. Here it is at the top, AVB race card. Let's open our new race card. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove every horse, eliminate all the horses that are not those 2. See how nice that looks? See how nice that looks? Now, we could use VDW. I'm going to come back to these later. Dayson's last good race. But what I'm going to do, first of all, one tool, and one tool only, the Monte Carlo simulator. This is the perfect tool if we're looking for a single tool to analyze a head-to-head race. Monte Carlo simulator, the perfect tool. Now, the reason I went difference from top for all of these, except for the trainer one, which doesn't have it. The reason that I did that is very, very simple. It's because if we go for a rank rating, that's horse top rank 1, top rank 2, second top rank, third top rank, fourth top rank. We simply have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't know the difference between them. We know this is the best horse, this is the second best horse, this is the third best horse. But we then have to go in further to determine how much better horse the top horse is than the second top horse. 1 and 2 doesn't tell us how much better they are, just that one is better than the other. The reason I haven't used a raw rating is because the top rated horse might be 100, the second top rated horse might be 90. Third top rated horse could be 75. What does 75 mean? We don't know. We do know. I mean, we know because when we analyze a race, we can intelligently look at the race card ourselves and go, well, this horse was 100 and this horse was 75. So what's the difference between them? But we've got to think about that. That's like a thinking process that we've got to put ourselves through to actually understand that. However, when we use difference from top, this tells us a top rated horse. So we can see here difference from top, average over distance. We know that Daysack was not the top rated horse here. Okay. It was 22 points. We know that Creek Harbor was 24 points. There is now a comparative figure that has the same base level because all of these are based on the top rated horse being 0. Okay. All of these are based on the top rated horse being 0. This gives us some comparison here that we can actually use. Right. That's why we go for difference from top. I hope that made sense. That sounded a bit complicated in my head as I was saying it. In my head, it sounded much simpler. When it came out of my mouth, it actually sounded far more complicated. That didn't quite make sense. Please let me know. We'll come back to it. Okay. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to hit the Monte Carlo button. Now, I'm going to leave everything here as standard. Click next. I'm going to leave all of the settings. What happens here is we can change the variance up here, 15%. I'm going to leave it as standard. I'm going to click next. I'm going to run 1,000 simulations. Now, while I run the 1,000 simulations, I'm going to come back. I don't think there are any questions, but if you do have a question, drop them in now, please. Facebook, the comments below, that's where you ask the question. YouTube, it's over here on the right-hand side of your screen, the chat section kind of sitting here. And if you haven't yet press the like button below while this simulation is running. Is the perfect time to press this button below. Well, there are over 60 people live, and so far only 10 of you have hit the like button. I must be doing a better job than that. Please hit that like button if you're enjoying this live stream. It just helps with us on the YouTube channels, on Facebook. It just kind of lets them know that you like what we're talking about here at the Race Advisor. Okay, now that simulation is nearly finished. Okay, let's jump back in and go and see what the results are. It's quite simple. I'm going to exit. Okay, I'm going to exit the simulation. I'm going to reopen it to get the results. This is what I'm interested in. Now, Creek Harbor, and this is interesting. Creek Harbor is given the edge. Okay, Creek Harbor is given the edge. We've given Creek Harbor odds of 1.92 and just under a 30% chance of winning. Okay, so Creek Harbor has got the edge. That percent chance of winning is actually, I do apologize, it's not actually it's not 30, it is, I will tell you exactly what it is. It's about a 54% chance of winning. About a 54% chance of winning. Okay, 54% chance of winning. Now, why is this interesting? This is interesting because Creek Harbor is currently available on William Hill in the match bet market at odds of 2. So it looks like we might have an advantage there. Okay, we might have an advantage there on Creek Harbor. Whereas Daysack is given odds of 2.14 here, and it's currently only available at 1.67. So this is the simplest way to do with a single tool. Now, obviously, I always recommend we use the FMFR method. If you're not sure what that is, that's something that we use in Race Advisor Pro. It's one of our core ways of analyzing a race. We're going to jump in and we're going to look at those horses. Essentially, what we're doing, if you want the complete breakdown of how to do that, you need to become a Race Advisor Pro member, which you can do at raceadvisor.co.uk/join. But in summary, what we're looking at is we're looking to confirm that this horse is likely to run well under today's conditions. But a single tool here, we see that we potentially have a value bet on Creek Harbor in the match market between Daysack and Creek Harbor. Okay, now, I hope that all makes sense. Any questions on it, please let me know. What I'm going to do now, that was a single tool. It was that quick. It was that quick. Although I do recommend that you go and use the FMFR method on it and you dig into those horses in a bit more detail to actually make sure that Creek Harbor can run well under today's condition. You cannot beat doing that manually. You cannot beat doing that manually. I'll tell you what, I'll come back and I will do it in a minute towards the end if we've got time, because right now I actually want to go in and look at how we do this with multiple tools. Now, we've already used one tool, Monte Carlo Simulator. So maybe we want to confirm this on other tools. All right. So let's start with Speedcross because they are awesome. Essentially, they are awesome. Okay. So Ivy, excuse me, our puppy is chewing a cable. Leave. Thank you. Yes. Right. I do apologise, but I didn't want us to suddenly get cut off there because the puppy was below the desk chewing on the power cable to the computer. Okay, so apologies for that. Right, now, I've opened up the Speedcross and you're like, what the is this? Okay, there's a lot going on here. There is a lot going on here, but fear not. We're going to go full screen. Okay, next I'm going to start hiding horses. I'm going to start hiding horses. Okay, here they go. They're all disappearing. Look at that. Ivy, leave that as well, please. Thank you. Okay. I was going to say, if she keeps chewing something, I'll just put her on my lap. Okay. So now that looks far, far better. Okay, that looks far, far better. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, now we can see some stuff. Creek Harbor orange, Daysack red. Interesting. The first thing we see is in brackets next to each name. Creek Harbor has the highest speed, dynamic speed rating. Daysack 62.2. This is just completely raw, No conditions put in, no filters put in every single race, okay? And they actually look pretty well matched. What's nice to see here is Creek Harbor steadily improving. We had improvement, decline. After a break, coming back steadily. If that continues, we're doing well. Actually, we can see very clearly Daysac generally below Creek Harbor in terms of speed, except for that last race. I'm just going to pick the puppy up and put her on my lap. I do apologize. Okay. I do apologize for that. Just so you know, we do have a puppy. This is Ivy. So she is new to the family, and she's just going to sit on my lap for the rest so she doesn't chew through a computer lead. Okay, right now. So that's the first thing. That's really interesting to see. The next thing we want to do is we want to add a dynamic filter. I want to put flat all weather. Okay. And the other thing I want to do is this is a 6 furlong race. So I want to find out what that distance is in yards. 6 furlongs in yards is 1,320. I'm just going to put the distance up to 1,500. And that's it. Just those two filters, and I'm going to apply. Now, all the horses are going to drop back on, so we're just going to remove them again. Next interesting thing we see. This is now just showing. This is now just showing the races on all weather up to 1,500 yards. So kind of just a couple of hundred yards over 6 furlongs. And again, look at these dynamic speed figures. So based on this filter, based on these conditions only, Creek Harbor still has a much higher speed figure, which confirms the Monte Carlo simulator. Okay. The other thing we see is it's pretty consistent, this horse. Pretty consistent. Okay. So this is all really strong. So this is another tool. Okay. This is another tool. Let's exit that full screen. And let's come back to, oh, sorry, I went too far. Let's come back to the race. So that's a confirmation. That's tool number 2. Tool number 2. Now we're going to come back into the race itself on our AVB race card. Next, Raoul asked if we could use VDW, Van der Waal, if you're not familiar with VDW. Now, Van der Waal, we have a unique way of doing that ourselves. We have race scores here. VDW win race score. Van der Waal win race score is 58%. That's pretty low. Van der Waal place is 91%. That's pretty high. Now, the problem with using these in AVB markets or match bet markets is all of our scores are based on the top 4 horses, not the top 2, but we can still have a look at them. So let's click this and we get the scores overlaid here. Now, again, this is interesting because our VDW score takes the Van der Waal form and the Van der Waal ability scores, which are the more traditional methods of calculating this, if you're not familiar with it, and merges them with the live odds from the market to create a score. And the lower that score, the better. And again, Creek Harbor shows up as a stronger horse. Again, Creek Harbor shows up as a stronger horse. So that's another tool there. PR odds. This is our own tissue line. And again, we're giving Creek Harbor a higher probability than Daysac. Again, we can see that there, 32% versus 10%. And obviously those figures are based on all runners in the race, but it just gives us an idea. So again, to us, Creek Harbor looks like the stronger horse here. Now, how many tools have we used there? I'm not sure. I've lost count of it. Plus the ratings. Now, let's just have a quick look at the horse's history. Okay, have a quick look at the horse's history. So Creek Harbor. Here we go. This is a 5K race. All right, this is a 5K race. So, pardon me. All weather. Beaten 1.75 lengths. Race well. All weather, but these are kind of lower class. I'm pretty sure this was a 5K race. Let me actually just double check that. Let me just double check that. It is 5K. There we go. Let's have a quick look. Is it a 5K race? Yeah, it is a 5K race. Okay, fine. So recently, Creek Harbour's been racing in lower class races, so this is an increase. But all weather, 1.75. We've got a win. We've got there's a flat coming back down here to Wolverhampton. Okay, beaten. We're going back now 2019. Which is a bit far. If we went back further, we start to get some higher class races, and it has won in them as well. But recently been racing in lower class races and has been competing okay. Let's have a look at Daysat quickly. And again, lower class races recently, which is great to see, and has been competing, but not actually as strongly. Not as strongly as Creek Harbour. So again, and we can go into that in more detail, which is kind of the FMFR method. So we're going to put that in there. So now, if we just come back, let me just come back to the race card again. So we've now got a lot of pointers pointing towards Creek Harbour as being the stronger horse in this race. We can actually see in the Betfair market the odds are starting to drop on Creek Harbour. That's the blue arrow pointing down. They're starting to increase on Daysac. However, coming over to William Hill, let me just share the William Hill screen because this is nuts. Coming over to William Hill, we can see. Oh, sorry, I closed William Hill by mistake. Let me get it back. That was pretty awesome. Horse racing. Let me share that screen with you again. Okay, now let me bring William Hill back onto your screen. Here we go. Right, here we go. We're back on at William Hill. Coming to the 1 o'clock at Wolverhampton. Coming to the match bet market. Look at these odds. Daysac has dropped down to 1.57. Creek Harbour has pushed it to 2.2. I mean, to me, this looks like there is great value in Creek Harbour. And that would be the horse to be focusing on. Okay, now, if you've got any questions about head-to-head betting and why we should do it and how we should do it, please do drop them in now. I'm going to spend the next 5-10 minutes answering any questions before we finish up this live session. But head-to-head racing is so powerful. It's so simple. We could also, in the same race, if we wanted to, we could come in and look at these. Daysac versus Delegate Lady. And Daysac versus Peachy Carnahan. Creek Harbour versus Delegate the Lady. There are so many options over at William Hill. It gives us a lot to possibly do. Lee, can I look at the Pontefract 3 p.m.? We haven't got time to look at another race, unfortunately. But that's possibly something we can do more of in the RA Pro members private group. Not right now, but another time or a day. If we want to go into this in more detail, we can do that over there. If you aren't yet a Race Advisor Pro member, please do head over to raceadvisor.co.uk/join and become part of our community. Bet365 match bets have just appeared for Daysac versus Creek Harbour. Okay, Bathsheba, what are the odds on them? What are the odds on them? Graham, am I going to race her? I will probably be actually betting in this race, AVB, on Creek Harbour, if that's what appears on Betfair, because I don't think Will Hill will let me place a bet. Okay, John, suggest looking at speed graph for Wolverhampton only. Oh, okay, we can do that very quickly, John, before we go. That's fine. A small bet on Creek Harbour from Bathsheba. Okay, 2.1. Now, John has suggested that we look at the speed graphs, but just for Wolverhampton. So let's do that. Okay. And what he means by that, let me explain what he means by that. So these are the speed graphs that you're now familiar with because we just looked at them. And while they look terrifying and scary, they don't have to be. But we can also just choose a course here on the left. Ivy, don't eat my shirt. Thank you. We can just choose a course here on the left. There's Wolverhampton. And we're going to apply that filter. Then I'm going to remove a bunch of the other runners. And here we can see at Wolverhampton, Creek Harbor is slightly lower on average than Daysac, but only marginally. I see exactly where John's coming from. Only marginally on the averages. However, Creek Harbor has had Daysac has had these two very fast races recently. Now the question is here. First of all, can it continue again? This would indicate potentially declining. The horse would have to jump up again here since the last race on May the 20th. So will that gap be good for this horse or not? It's hard to say because we've got a gap here where the horse declined. We've got a gap here where the horse declined. Whether, again, because we don't get a training run data in the UK, annoyingly, it's very hard to say at the moment with that type of history whether the horse is likely to improve or when it comes back to this specific course. However, there is as much to say that Creek Harbor could come up to Daysac, particularly if Daysac doesn't improve. If Daysac stays level or declines and Creek Harbor even marginally increases, at the course they'll be there. The reason John suggests we look at this is because you can see possibly why Daysac has got shorter odds than the others. And this is really important. And this brings up a really, really important point. Okay, this brings up a really important point that if there is a horse that is short in the market, and everything we are doing is pointing to another horse, it's always a very good idea to go and try and find why the horse is actually shorter in the market. What are we missing? And that's what John was doing here. That's what John was reminding me to do, was exactly that. Okay, let me know if there are any more questions around head-to-head racing. Please do drop that in now. Graham, am I going to race Ivy? I'm not sure she's ready for racing yet. What do you think? I'm not sure she's going to be the perfect dog for racing, but I think she's going to be much more the lap dog, where she's going to sit on my lap and watch racing. I think that's probably going to be her preference. Okay, I'll just hold on one more minute. And if you want to become a Race Advisor Pro member, you can do that at raceadvisor.co.uk/join. You'll get access to the full suite of software from the Race Advisor, as well as the training, as well as personal access to me if you want me to help you build out your strategies. You just need to contact me and ask. I will help do that. I'll help you build out custom foundational strategies. I'll help you go through the FMFR method, whatever you need. Everything else, you just need to contact me after joining, and I will help you do that. And I will continue to help you do that, because actually my only aim is to make you long-term profitable. So that's raceadvisor.co.uk/join if you would like to. John, what breed is Ivy? She is she's a Staffy. So we've always had Staffies. And she is another Staffy. She is the first puppy, though. She is the first puppy. So we've always had rescues before, but the children are now of an age where I can't really get a rescue. So she is a first puppy. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. We've only had her about 5 days, so we will see how that goes. But she's doing very well so far. Okay, on that note, I will love you and leave you. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. If you have any questions that come up later, just drop them in the comments below this video. If you want to rewatch this video, it's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to stay there. You'll be able to access it again. You'll be able to watch it again. You'll be able to ask questions later. Please, please, please do ask questions if any come up. You can email into support@raceadvisor.co.uk with questions as well. That's absolutely no problem. If you don't want to ask them publicly, drop them into a support ticket. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Have a wonderful day. Please start using head-to-head horse racing markets, AVB, match bet markets, where there are just two horses in a race. I cannot tell you how little they're used, how much advantage you can potentially gain in them, and how much quicker it is, how much less stressful it is to analyze them, particularly when you're getting started analyzing. There are less moving parts. It simplifies everything. We get confidence faster when we do that, and when we get that confidence, we start making serious inroads into actually becoming long-term profitable. So thank you very much. Stay healthy, stay safe. Take care of yourself. I look forward to seeing you in another live stream. My name is Michael Wilding. This has been For the Race Advisor. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you very, very soon. Goodbye for now.